about this installation is the use of an MPPT charge controller. That's the beautiful thing about it. If it has been a pulse width modulation, we have to do it voltage by voltage range. But because we have an MPPT charge controller, Schneider, which can take up to 600 volts, DC, and 80 amps, as the case may be. So if we connect 17 solar panels all in series, and let's say we have one solar panel to be 35 volts, if we have it to be VOC of 35 volts, then if we do 35 times 17, we have 595 volts, and this can take up to what, 600. But I dare tell you, maybe I've put more of the voltage, so we are still in the range of the MPPT charge controller. So we have 4 of that, because the system, we can't just use one charge controller, so we have 4 of that. So we have a nice switch here, and the basic function is if there's to be a maintenance to be carried on the solar panel, so we can disconnect at this point before we do the repair work.
The isolation.
Yeah, like isolation.
It's gear switch.
A nice switch.
Off and on.
Yeah, off and on. So an MPPT charge controller is maximum point power tracker. So what it maximum power point, thank you, maximum power point tracker. So what it helps you to achieve is this. For some PWM, if you let me use some this language, a PWM charge controller can be on sleep. It loves sleeping, and it can wake up around 9-10 when the sun is about to come out. But an MPPT charge controller has the sensitivity, has the capability to peak
At the minimum.
at the very first sunlight that is coming in the morning, and it can extend that to about 5 p.m. 6 p.m. in the evening, which help you to harness all the energy that may be coming from the solar panel. So for bigger system, and I'm so sure also that for this installation we'll be doing for this project, definitely we're going to use an MPPT charge controller.
Sorry, the other one called what?
This PWM, pulse width modulation. So pulse width modulation.
WIDTH.
PWM. Yeah, pulse width. WIDTH. You are right, sir. So that is not very good for bigger system like this. They are used for smaller system when voltage, you are specific with the voltage. So people will have tell you that when you do your charge controller to be 24 volts, make sure your panels to be 24 volt arrangement. Make sure your charge controller is 24. Make sure your battery is 24. That is when you are using a pulse width modulation charge controller. But for this MPPT, we can arrange our panels up to 600 volts. This charge controller is designed to work for a 24 volt and 48 volt battery system. So this arrangement of this battery system is 48 volt. So it can charge a 48 volt system battery bank arrangement. And we have 2 volt batteries, 2000 amp power at C10. We have 24 quantity, 24 times 2 all in series, that's 48 volts. So MPPT, you arrange up to 600, and by the algorithm designing it, it can sufficiently charge a 24 volt battery arrangement. So we have our inverters. This inverter is a 9 kilowatt. They say inverter is kVA, but in DC system we just say okay, DC kVA. So let's call it a 9 kilowatt inverter. This 4.5, this 4.5 is synchronized together. Okay. So this is working at this moment. So if there is need for increase in load, this second one will come up to complement that.
Yeah. Capacity of each battery?
2 volts, 2000 amp hour at C rate, C10, which shows that 2 volts, 2000 amp hour at C10. That C10 is the battery C rate. And at that C10, what we are saying is that you must at least give the battery, if you divide 2000 by 10, that means the battery you must supply with at least 200 amps. So that means your panel arrangement must be sufficient enough to provide that current for charging your batteries. So bus bar is very important. So we have the negative bus bar and the positive bus bar, because we are working with much current. So you don't just want to, the bus bar helps you to arrange your design or your connections properly. Imagine if I don't have a bus bar, that means this cable, I will have to join them together, which is not really good. So the bus bar helps. We have a battery monitor here, which is connected to the bus bars, positive, negative. This is saying that the battery is at what? 100% state of charge. 100% state of charge. So that means we are having enough irradiation and the system is charging very well. So we have all other balance of system. This is a fuse for protection between the inverter and the batteries. So we have it.
Where does the solar connection?
Okay, it's inside the back of
You
this
don't have
thing.
a combiner here. You don't make use of a combiner.
What we have is, presently we have this also for some monitoring for AC purpose. But what we have is inside, and you have it connected to the charge control.
That means you don't have a combiner.
Yeah.
There's no combine.
Just nice switch.
You said that the panel arrangement is 16.
Yeah, 16 is series, others 15 in series.
Is it 16 kV?
16 in series, connected in series. 16 numbers, all in series. Connected to one charge controller. This charge controller can take up to 600 volts. So if the VOC of one solar panel is like 35 volts DC, if you multiply it by 15 or 16, it should still be within this range of 600 volts.
Still you are saying is a
Series
number of the
solar panels.
No,
In the total is 66.
I thought you were saying that the capacity should be
16.5 kilowatt peak. We have
16.5
some
kilowatt.
information here,
That's what I'm
which is 66 times the number.
You have combiner box, so one combiner box is here.
Yeah.
There's one combiner box here.
The panel is a function of this battery. This one is just to carry the energy from the battery and supply. So because you want to be sure that this battery has sufficient charge, that's why we have so many solar panels. For some household, it can be 10 kVA and you have like 20 panels. Yeah. 60 of 250 watt peak. No, no combiner. You have
Even for our
what do you say? That means if you have external supply from the grid or a generator, you can also use it to charge the battery, not only solar alone.
must we have
Yeah, it's down. This is the one working now. The load is not.
load is no much, just on one lighting. For the
Yeah.
for installation in our houses, is it must?
Lighting only.
That's the only lighting. You have to put some lighting.
No, it may have issues.
Is it must for us to move
Just to fix.
to install also this battery monitor
What do you say?
when installing this solar at
Yeah.
our houses?
Mhm.
Is it must for us to install
Yeah,
that?
you can if you have. It's a common. Sometimes your charge controller can have indicator for your battery level,
Okay.
so no need because it's an additional
But if
cost.
it doesn't have,
Yeah, you can. You can.
So this MPPT, PWM, you can use this to
Actually,
at lower.
we do put on the AC.
So this was my this was my best and each one of them is 2 volts. So it makes up 48 volts. This system is a protein body.